Hi everyone, my name is Canseco and welcome again to Mrch Immigration channel. So today I want to talk about the home care worker immigration pilot. So there's been a lot of information, a lot of people have been talking about this, and I'm sure you already know that this program is going to reopen March 31st. Now there's going to be two streams for this. One for those that are already in Canada and another one for those that are outside of Canada. Now, the first stream that's going to open March 3rd is just for those who are already in Canada. So this is what we're going to be focusing on today. There's no exact date on when the stream for the home care workers from outside of Canada it's going to open, but as soon as it comes out, we'll let you know. So let's start. First, you need to be aware of March 31st, 2025, this program is going to open. Now, how do you know if this program is for you? First, you need to have the language skill of 4 in either English or French. You need to have at least a high school diploma. And this is where it gets tricky. You need to have either 6 months of relevant, recent work experience or a caregiver training credential. And you also need to have a full-time job offer. So what we don't know is exactly what are the details of the work experience requirement. Does it need to be continuous? What exactly do they mean by relevant? Like how relevant does it have to be? What are the limitations on the work experience that they would consider relevant? Now, as for the caregiving training credential, well, how long does this credential have to be? 6 months? 1 year? Are there any specific institutions that are going to be recognized? So that's also an unknown so far. Another super important thing that we don't know right now is how many spots are going to be available for this stream. What I can tell you right now is that this is going to be super competitive. And I can assure you, whatever spots are available for this stream, they're going to be gone within a matter of hours. Now, we also don't know what the exact application process will be. We have a general idea of what it could look like. So this is what we're going to be focusing on in this video. So you have an idea of how you can prepare yourself to maybe be one of those lucky ones who are able to get their application in line for this stream. Again, when are we going to get clear information about all of this? March 1st. Now, what can you do in the meantime so you can prepare yourself to maybe have one of those few spots that will be available? First, gather all the paperwork that you need for the eligibility requirements. So that would be your language test. They need to be less than 2 years old, and you need to have at least CLB4. As usual, always aim for more. It's not for points here, but you never know. You might not get in on this stream, so you might need to use that test for other streams and you might need points there. Now, you also need to get your educational credential assessment, and this is only for your highest degree. So if you have high school and a bachelor's, you don't need to get for both. You just get for the highest one, and it has to be less than 5 years old. Now, this takes a while. So if you don't have this by now, honestly, I don't think you'll be able to get in this first pilot. Now, that is, of course, if your high school is from outside Canada. If it's from inside Canada, you just need to get your certificate. You also need to work on getting your proof of experience. So that would be either reference letter, a contract, pay stubs, your tax filing, or your credential and transcript of whatever caregiving training you took. What else can you do? And this is super important. You need to secure a full-time job offer. Now, the big question is here, well, what kind of job? And for this, you need to focus on first, who are the possible employers? So where can you work? You can work in any of these, as long as they are not a recruitment or a placement agency. So a job offer from a recruitment or placement agency will not be eligible for this stream. Now, what kind of job, what position? How do you know if your position, if your job offer is going to be eligible? So the title is not relevant. You need to focus on the duties and what you're actually doing. So this is what's known as the lead statement. This is the knock list. So I looked for home child care providers. You need to ensure that this is what you do. And these are just example of titles, but again, the titles are not the main focus here. And these are the duties that you have to perform. Now, for the last pilot, foster parents were not included. I assume that they won't be included in this pilot either. But again, that information, at least at the current time while I am recording this, is not available. We've covered what kind of job offer you need to look for and how you need to focus on what kind of employers and the type of job and duties that you need to focus on for your job offer. And remember, this needs to be a full-time job offer. So that's 30 hours a week or more. Now, since this is going to be very time sensitive, as soon as this pilot opens, the spots are going to be gone in hours. So you want to have all the information as ready as possible. So what I would suggest you do is to gather the paperwork that is usually required for a PR application. So what would that look like? That would be your passport and any other immigration documents like your work permit, study permits, visitor records. Make sure that you have your police certificates. Again, you should probably have this by now. It's going to be very tight if you don't have them right now. I don't think you're going to be able to have those by the 31st, but again, you can always try. Police certificates are for the principal applicant and all family members over 18 years of age. And that will be for every country except Canada, where you've lived for 6 consecutive months since the age of 18. So it might be more than one country. It's also useful if you start familiarizing yourself with the information that you will be required to provide. So take a look at these applications that I list here in the screen and their instructions, just so that you know that you have all the information with you. Especially, it's super time consuming to come up with your personal history. For example, all your addresses in the last 10 years, all your travel history, and you need to make sure that your travel history matches your address history and your work history. So just make sure that you have all of that figured out beforehand so you don't have to take a long time during the actual application process. And of course, you need to have a credit card ready to pay the fees. Now, my final thoughts on this pilot. It's going to be super time sensitive, super competitive. However many spots are available are going to be gone within hours. But I need you to breathe, focus on whatever is in your power, do whatever you can, and trust that the rest of the pieces will just fall into place. Understand that this is not the only stream available. We have rural pilots, we have express entry, we have PNPs, and there are also temporary residence options available, work permits, study permits, visitor records. They each have their own pros and cons. I know that it's nerve-wracking, but at least you know that there are options. And also, there are a lot of updates coming up every day. We've just seen also an update on the categories for express entry. Some of the communities for the rural pilots also already launched their websites. So you can also start looking into that in case you don't make it for this one. I hope this was useful. If you need any help, you can always find my contact information at Mrch Immigration. Thank you. Take care and goodbye.